What's going on? Jake here with WharnEDC, and today we're taking a look at the WharnEDC. This is the first knife design of Melissa Backwoods, who I'm sure most watching this video are familiar with. But if not, Melissa is an outdoor survivalist. She's one of the OG knife reviewers here on YouTube. She's been doing it nearly a decade at this point. Based on some of her recent videos, I'm also pretty sure she can beat me in arm wrestling, but that's besides the point. Now, in order to bring her first design to life, she partnered with Tim and the folks over at TKell Knives. I think that was an excellent choice because not only do they make some bomb-proof knives, but they're 100% American made, and I think Tim's design philosophy just lends itself really nicely to what Melissa was hoping to accomplish with her first design. So with the WharnEDC, a few of the things I really love about this knife are first and foremost the modularity. Not really something you think when you think of fixed blades, which are typically pretty straightforward and to the point, but in this case we get these ultra modular scales, which isn't just, changing the color and material, that's pretty typical, but these actually change the grip of the knife itself and in some ways the functionality of the knife. And so right now I have the Sentry grip installed for the scales, and that obviously has the ring here at the end, which I've really been enjoying. I don't have a lot of knives in this configuration, so I'm most likely going to leave this Sentry grip as is, but you can see that the ring is actually incorporated to the scales rather than the tang of the knife, and so that's kind of unique and allows them to offer different scales for a more standardized grip. And so in fact, when you order the Sentry grip, you get a pair of the standard grip as well, or at least the replacement scale, since the Sentry grip is only on that one side, but you get the replacement scale there to convert it over to a standard grip. All you need is a T20 bit, remove those two screws, and you can swap it out very, very quickly. So if we swap over to the standard grip, for me, that's going to terminate right here at the start of that ring, and it's going to equate to about a 3-finger grip for me. And so for the application I'm going to be using it for, that's more than adequate. But again, with that Sentry ring, I'm able to get all 4 fingers on there very comfortably, very secure, thanks to the use of that ring. And that's with the pinky in the ring or the index finger in the ring, both ultra secure grips. And so for some people though, if you're not so into the ring and you want to get all 4 fingers on the knife, that standard grip may not be enough for you. And so they also offer an extended grip that extends out nearly to the end of the Sentry grip here. And for me, again, that's going to be about a 4-finger grip on there. Some larger hands that may be more like 3.5, but you're still going to get a more secure grip, being able to get partial pinky on there. But again, for me, that's about a 4-finger grip. So really nice to have all of the different options depending on what your preference for carry is. And then one of the other things that I really like about it is in the name itself, WharnEDC. I love Wharncliffes, they're my favorite blade shape, so obviously I'm a little bit more partial to that, but also just love the ultra aggressive tip that they put on here, a little bit more tactical than your typical Wharncliffe style blade. Last but not least is the sizing on here. So for those that watch the channel with any regularity, with my fixed blades, I prefer a pocketable fixed blade. Even with the largest grip option, the Sentry grip here, we're looking at 6.98 inches, so just under 7 inches, still very pocketable. If you go down to the standard grip, it's going to go all the way down to 5.85 inches, and then the extended grip is somewhere in between, I think about 0.17 inches shorter than our Sentry grip. And so all options are very, very pocketable, and the Kydex sheath that it ships with is also lends itself nicely to that pocket carry. It ships with a belt clip, but you can also attach your own, which I've done. We'll see that when we get to the sheath portion of this video. Now, if you want to pick one of these up, these are dropping today, May 29th, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 Eastern, on their website, which I'll link to in the description of the video. They start at $235, so very reasonable for an American-made fixed blade. There is going to be some variance based on which version that you go with, which grip seat you end up choosing, but it's going to be a pretty small variance. It's not going to shoot up in price just because you go with the Sentry grip, and so should be a pretty reasonable variance there. And I'll link to that in the description of the video. Now, if you're watching this around the 29th or around when this video goes live and you're attending Blade Show Atlanta next week, you may want to wait and pick it up there, or if you have a proxy available that was willing to pick it up for you, because they are doing a Blade Show Atlanta special, limited edition, limited to only 100 pieces, and that one's going to have these beautiful copper infused handle. I think it's a really cool version of it. Also has, I want to say, 80 CRV2 on the blade steel, so you get an upgrade grade blade steel. And again, 100 pieces that are going to be split between Friday and Saturday. So a lot of opportunity to get there. If you're kind of planning out your trip, you can plan for one day or the other in terms of that first come, first serve offering. But that may be the play if you are willing to wait and you want kind of a more fancy version. This version feels very utilitarian to me and absolutely love that about it. So really great option as well. And again, you can pick this one up right as this video is going live, and I will link to that in the description of the video. Now back into the knife itself, like I said, pretty manageable size. Even with that Sentry grip, we're still talking sub 7 inches at 6.98 inches. And with our grip, it's really going to depend on which one you go with. So it starts at about 2.86 inches with the standard, goes up to 3.99 inches with the Sentry grip. For me, again, that's a full 4-finger grip, very comfortable, able to get my pinky in there, no hot spots, incredibly ergonomic. Absolutely love the jimping on here. That's one thing I'm always super particular about. I'm weird about jimping. This one almost looks like there's a bite out of our thumb ramp here, but it works incredibly well. It's one of those overly aggressive, but not too aggressive, that just grabs onto your thumb nicely. Now, that's for me and my preferences. For some people, I think this might be even a little bit overly aggressive, but for me, it's just about the perfect jimping. So love that. Really allows you to get a secure grip with your thumb and really lock in on that ramp. You can see there's also some jimping incorporated at the tip of the knife, which is a perfect landing spot for your index finger. Now, Wharncliffes are great all around blades. They're really easy to sharpen with that straight edge, but they really excel in utility cuts. And so being able to get that index finger right behind the tip for those utility type cuts is really nice, and it works incredibly effectively as well. Just comfortable in both of those grips, or I would say all 3 grips if you want to turn that around into that more kind of hammer grip with your index finger through the ring. Also just offers a really comfortable ergonomics there. Nice choil here for your finger. No ricasso to keep you off the edge of the blade, which hasn't been an issue for me. Maybe if you have a little bit thicker fingers, you might get a little bit close to the edge, but again, I haven't had any issues. I even tried stabbing this into cardboard repeatedly just to make sure I don't slide up on there, but thanks to the ring, it keeps you from sliding around all that much. And then again, really nice effective grabby jimping. And so I haven't had any issues where I slid up there. If you were using this in a more tactical capacity and your pinky slid up on there, maybe a little bit less worried about some small cuts there, but again, haven't had any issues in just kind of everyday use. So that's a really good thing, obviously. Now, in terms of the ring, we're also worth mentioning that it does play pretty nicely with gloves, or at least the gloves that I have. I tried it with like mechanic gloves, which is a lot of people will know, with my like BMX style type riding gloves. I tried it with motorcycle gloves, even the more tactical like 511 gloves, which tend to be a little bit thicker, I'd say medium thickness. It still plays nicely. You're able to get it in and out of the sheath easily, still able to put my pinky through that ring, no problem. And so there's enough real estate to fit it through there with some gloves on. Now, the exception might be if you have ultra thick gloves. If you're in the snow wearing like snowboarding gloves, or even like gardening gloves sometimes can be pretty thick. Those may not fit, but a lot of the thinner to medium thickness gloves are going to play really nicely with the ring. If you're using those thicker gloves and you know that's going to be your standard kind of use case, maybe worthwhile to just go with the extended grip instead. That way you don't have to worry about threading it through that ring there. But in terms of weight, pretty lightweight. I think they list it at 2.14 ounces with the standard grip, which I think makes sense. I weighed it with the Sentry grip at 2.23 ounces, so ultra lightweight. That's obviously knife only. Now, when you account for the Kydex sheath, I didn't weigh it before I installed my ulti clip, and so this does not ship with an ulti clip. It ships with a belt clip in the pouch, so it's not installed, so you can choose whether or not you want to install it. I happen to have an extra ulti clip laying around, so I went ahead and installed that, but I believe that is going to be an option, an optional add-on that you can add yourself if you want to go with the ulti clip. With the ulti clip and the Kydex sheath and the knife in that sheath, it weighed 3.68 ounces, so still very lightweight for a fixed blade. Also love this sheath. Like I said, it doesn't come with anything installed on it, so very minimal, just taco fold over Kydex sheath with a lot of different mounting options. And so if you're planning on just pocket dropping this, it's definitely doable. It works really well. And you can see with this in there, we have a nice kind of thumb push off here to quickly and easily remove that sheath with one hand. So again, if you're pocket dropping it, as you're removing it, you can quickly push that off and throw that in the pocket and remove just the blade. But I chose to add that ulti clip, which allows me to clip it to the inside of my pocket, which is why it looks like it's kind of set up for left-hand carry, is because I'm clipping this to the inside of my pocket, right pocket. And so just the handle is going to be sticking out of there. That works really nicely. Now they're selling the Ulti clip separately. I may end up trying to swap this out for the discreet carry cloth grabber mini, and I'm pretty sure that will mount on here as well. That's been my kind of go-to mounting option for fixed blades lately. Really love it, but Ulti clips are obviously great as well, and so working out really nicely in the meantime. I want to say the bag that I pulled this one out of, I left the cardboard in and it said Ulti clip slim 3.3, so I'm pretty sure that's a model here. Not sure which version they're offering, but I'm sure obviously whatever version they're offering as an add-on will fit nicely onto the sheaths that they manufacture, and so really nice option. Overall, this is just a badass knife. I'm really loving this one. Congratulations to Melissa on her first design, and shout out to her for having this review sample sent out to me. I almost forgot to mention, really important, this is Nitro V steel, so really great steel on this one as well. We have a nice flat grind. The cutting edge on here is about 2.65 inches. Again, that Wharncliffe style blade, so great, just kind of all arounder, but really excels at those utility cuts nicely. And then with that ultra aggressive tip, it has a more kind of tactical feel, especially if you're going into that more tactical grip. Again, punctured a bunch of cardboard, no worries about sliding up onto the blade or anything like that. The flat grind is very well executed, and you can see it has a little bit of texturing on it. Hopefully that's coming across on camera. Really beautiful, and has a almost kind of tactile feel to it as well, which is nice, but really razor sharp out of the box. And a decent amount of cutting edge. Again, we have a nice kind of ramp here for our thumb. Very minimal billboarding. We have the TKell stamp on our show side. On our pal side over here, we have Melissa's maker's mark or logo, and then etched over here we have USA made, and of course Nitro V etched on the opposing side. So badass knife all around. Really excited to have checked this one out. Now, one of the things that we don't often talk about on the channel that I did want to spend a couple minutes on for this video is the packaging. And the reason we don't talk about it is, you know, typical box and knife pouch is pretty boring, but in this case we get this really cool pouch. In fact, this pouch is so cool that I've bought one separately and used one regularly. I think this might be a different camo print, but have picked this one up and used it separately. I've never made a video on it, so we'll take a quick look at it here. Has 2 hook and loop panels, and these patches are included. So these are 2" by 3" patches, WharnEDC with the TKell branding on the left, and then Melissa's logo and Melissa Backwoods here on the right. The pouch itself is embroidered with that TKell knives on there, and then we have the Coyote zippers, YKK zippers, clamshell style opening. Mounting options on the back, we get both the D-ring as well as that Molly webbing, and so lots of mounting options if you want to mount this, or you can just toss it in the bag, which is what I typically do with the other one, just toss it into a larger backpack. And again, nice clamshell style opening on here. Some more goodies in the inside. So this one actually ships with the knife inside here, and so I obviously removed it for the video here, but it can store in here. You can even clip it to these elastic straps, but there's also some other small goodies in here. So we get the ballistol, which is a lubricating, cleaning wipe, protective wipe, just multi-purpose. You can use it for firearms, knives, tools, other things as well. So I thought that was a nice addition. We also get these branded band-aids that say "Be Less Dumb," just a overall good message, and so that's a pretty fun one in these front pockets. And then back here we have some more goodies in a Ziploc bag, which we'll go ahead and remove here. And so another one of those "Be Less Dumb" band-aids, which I think is hilarious, but what I really wanted to show was here. So this is the belt mounting option. You can just screw that on there. You can see also made in the USA. All the components of this are made in the USA. The Kydex sheaths, I believe, are made in-house. The Ulti clips are made in the USA. Even the pouch itself, I don't know that this one has the tag, but my other one definitely has a tag somewhere. Yeah, here we go. Made in the USA. And so even the pouch itself is made in the USA. It's probably on the interior or something here. But all the components are made in the USA. So we get that nice belt mounting sheath if you're planning on just carrying it on your belt. We also get that scale that I mentioned earlier. So it's only one scale because the ring is only incorporated into one side. If we take a closer look, the other side is just the regular standard scale. So we can quickly swap that out to the standard scale, and it has that same kind of patterning that we see from a lot of TKell knives. In fact, the Ops Hawk that we saw earlier has that same kind of scalloping pattern on it. We also get some of those mounting rings and screws, as well as a bead necklace here. So if you want to neck carry it, that's an option as well. Overall, just a very complete package. Really, really cool knife. Again, I do want to congratulate Melissa and thank her for sending this review sample over. Really excited to spend some more time with this knife. I'm sure you'll be seeing it again on the channel in the future, but I would love to hear your thoughts on it down in the comments below. As usual, if you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, checking out some of my other content. All helps the channel out a ton, and I hope you have a great one. Take care.